Hey guys, it's Sherry Vegas and welcome back to my channel. So in this tutorial today, I'm going to be doing the 3-tier cake stand using the molds from Shattered Shapes. This time I'm going to go for like a black and silver and chrome effect, so make sure you stay tuned. So to get started, you're going to need some molds. I'm using the ones from Shattered Shapes, and this is a part of their 3-tiered cake stand collection that you can buy. I've got a discount code for that, so I'll put the links below. You're going to need resin today. I am using the Make Art casting resin, and I'm going to be doing this in 2 stages. So I'm going to be pouring a silver base of glitter first, and the glitter that I'm going to be using is Silver Moon from Archery Creation, but you can use whatever you have on hand. This is just what I had on hand. And then I think I'm going to be using like a black, maybe a bluey silver and like a clear silver, if that makes sense. I'll show you in a minute, to pour the second layer, and then maybe some glitter chips in the center. And then I've got like a silver cake stand part. So let's get started.
For this project, I'm using my Make Art resin, and this is the Crystal Cast resin. So this resin has been designed for the purpose of casting items, so it is the perfect resin to use for this technique. I start off by pouring 2 amounts because I want to keep 1 part clear and the rest I'm going to add some glitter to. So I just use 2 separate cups, and this resin is a 2-to-1 ratio, so I need 2 parts of the resin and 1 part of the hardener for this one. Or is it the other way around? I can never remember. But I just poured that out into my measuring cups and then gave it a good mix. Because I have used my Shattered Shapes molds before, I just want to give them a good clean before I reuse them. If there's any dirt or dust or any little particles of old resin or glitter or anything like that, when I do my resin pour into my mold, that will set into my plates. So I don't want that to happen, so I'm just giving them a bit of a clean with some alcohol just to disinfect it and make sure there's no residue left from any previous pours. And then I like to use a little bit of tape if there are any bits that I can visibly see that's still there, just some painter's tape or masking tape, whatever you've got on hand, and I just use that by pressing it down across the silicone mold, and it just lifts up any of those really hard to get bits that are really stuck in there, and that way I know I've got a really nice and clean mold. Into 1 part of my resin that I've mixed up, I'm pouring some silver holographic glitter. This is called Silver Moon, and it's from Archery Creations. You can obviously use whatever colors or anything you've got on hand. I already had this from a really old project. I have now decided to stop buying like plastic based glitters and only use biodegradable glitters from now on, but I am going to be using up like what I've got left of my glitter collection. So if you do see me using glitters in the future that aren't like biodegradable, it's just because I'm using up what I've got. You can add quite a lot of glitter into resin. It can hold quite a lot of glitter, and it doesn't have any effects on the resin, like it doesn't make it go gloopy or anything like that. It's pretty good because it's a dry product going into resin. And then I decided to add some black glitter. I kind of wish I hadn't, because it didn't really do the desired effect that I wanted it to create. It looked cool, but I kind of wish I just left it as the silver holographic. The next step is to pour your resin and glitter mix and create your glitter base in your mold. I'm only going halfway up in my mold, as I just want this to be a base layer, and I do plan on doing a second layer. So I just divided this out and made sure I obviously poured more into the bigger molds and less into the smaller one. With my completely clear resin, I added that into the center. By doing this, it's going to push that glitter resin out, because the glitter resin, because it's got glitter in it, is a little bit denser than just the resin that is clear. So that's why when I add my clear in, it's pushing that out because it's a different density. I've got a packet of mirror glass glitter chips, and I'm going to be putting that into the center of each tier. I am going to be doing it in a circle pattern because I do want to leave right down the middle still clear, because it's going to make it easier for me to drill through if I am just drilling through resin and not drilling through like resin and mirror chips. So I just did that in a little circle going around, and I think it actually looks really pretty, and that will set into the resin. Once your first layer of resin has cured, it's time to do the second layer. The colours that I'm using is this Palladium Blue from Artie Sue, which is no longer available, a black from Barnes, which is just a plain black, and this colour called Abalone Shell, and it's from Colour Art. I started off by pouring the black going around the outside of my mould. This black that I'm using is from Barnes and it is super strong, so I do wish, like in hindsight, I used a little bit less because it did slightly overtake this piece, but it still turned out really cool. After I put my black down, it was time to add my blue, and I did that going just on the inside of the black for each one, just creating a ring of colour. With some clear resin, I just poured that into the center of each one of my plates, and this is just going to create that push-pull effect with the clear resin going against the pigmented resin. I also decided to just use my heat gun, not necessarily to pop any bubbles because I am using a casting resin and it really doesn't get many bubbles at all, but more just to help create some cool effects and push that clear resin out into the coloured resin. And then it was time to add in my Abalone Shell colour. I just did this by pouring it over the top of the black, and I also did a little ring just around all of the little glitter chips in the centre.
Okay guys, it is time to demold these. The good thing about summer in Australia is your resin cures a bit faster. So it is more black than what I originally intended, but you know what? I'm not actually mad at this. So that's the back with the silver and black holographic, which is actually quite nice, and then you've got like that little bit of clear in the center, which is where I'm going to drill through. And then this is what it looks like on this side. And I'll do like a little close up, but you can see this really cool 3D effect of the black going across the clear. And you can see some of that nice abalone shell coming through. The black has overpowered a bit too much for what like my original intention was. Like, I've got to say, it is still really pretty, but you don't see a lot of that really soft blue coming through. You see it like when you look really close, but like here in like these little bits, but the black has kind of overpowered that a little bit too much. So if I was to do this again, I'm actually really happy with the colors and how it's looking, because it's going to look really cool all together. But I did lose quite a lot of, I think it's called Palladium Blue. So I would probably do about a quarter of the black that I used, just maybe like a really thin edge of black, and then way more of that blue coming through. But still, it's a pretty cool effect, and I like my little glitter chips in there. I've got like a nice even coverage, so it would be really up to you whether you wanted to top coat it or not. I'm not going to do that for this. I'm going to go around the outer edges adding silver, and I'm going to be using this silver chrome pen that I recently just got from my friend's store. She's based in Brisbane, but she also like sells online, Tegan, and it's called Maker and the Artist, or Artist and the Maker. I'll add the link below, but she sells this pen, and honestly this pen is amazing. It is like liquid silver, so I'm going to use that to do the edging and show you that, guys. And now I've just got to drill these and assemble.
I start off by placing a piece of scrap wood underneath just to protect my table, and then I drill a pilot's hole with a small drill bit, and then I switch that out for the right size drill bit and drill that through. It just makes it a bit easier to drill through resin, and then I just kept repeating this process on the other two pieces. Once my holes are drilled, it's time to assemble my cake stand. I bought this one off Amazon, so I'll add the links below. This one is a really good one as it's got quite wide partings in between each layer, so you can make your resin pieces quite thick, which is important if you've seen my previous cake stand video where I didn't have that. So this liquid chrome pen is absolutely amazing. I've got to say it is now one of my favorite items to use, and you're probably going to see it keep popping up quite a lot. With my cake stand, I just roughed up the edges with some really fine grit sandpaper. It just helps the pen grip a bit better, but this looks literally like liquid silver once it has dry, and it's so easy to apply to resin. I also decided to go around the top of each plate for my cake stand and just do a little liquid silver border. I think this just makes it look really elegant and put together with that little border.
Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Would you do this technique, and if so, what colors would you use? I would definitely be doing this again, but obviously just using a little bit less black, but you know what? That happens. It still turned out really beautiful, and I'm super happy with this. But yeah, what colors would you use? Like, what 3 colors would you pick to make this cake stand? Leave it in the comments below. I've got all the links and all the discount codes in the description, so make sure you check out all of those stores. I really love to support independent brands. And yeah, if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, as I post new videos every single week, all to do with arts, crafts, DIYs, lots of resin, lots of candle making, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching.